You hear it, you're like, I'm not gonna bump to this song, but then you start catching a vibe. I'm sorry, not sorry.
Yeah.
East Coast with the gang gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang gang, Lower with the gang gang gang, you know we don't play gang. East Coast with the gang gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang gang, Lower with the gang gang gang, you know we don't play gang. East Coast with the gang gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang gang, Lower with the gang gang gang, you know we don't play gang. East Coast with the gang gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang gang, Lower with the gang gang gang, you know. Yeah, whoa, East Coast with that gang gang. You know we don't play games, whoa. Hop up on that wagon, oh please just get out the way. You know we stay stuntin', right up in your face. We sorry, not sorry, we just stuck up in our ways. West Coast, go ahead, stand up. Put that glass and hands up. Gang, we famed up. Got that change, we bagged up. True love, we stay manned up. Ahem like I'm Weezy, yeah. Rap game just too easy.
Yo. What up, beaches? What up, beach? What up, beach? What's up, beaches? What's up, booshes? Hello. What's up? What's the good word? What's the good word, peoples? Yeah. Say hi to daddy. Say hi to daddy. You know we don't play games. East Coast is the gang.
Yeah. Watch me finesse, walk to the line. Good versus evil, God in his prime. Always in prime, always on time. Our time to shine, wifey is fine. I'm doing fine, glad that you asked. God fill me up, mud in my
Super Swole Sunday, fucking hells yeah.
You are in last time I checked, you were all gas in the whip it up fast and all furious, I'm starting to spaz. Getting all curious, you put me on blast. Blasting that Darius, kids in the back to the future is black like T'Challa, Wakanda attack. East Coast with the gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang, Lower with the gang gang, you know we don't play gang. East Coast with the gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang, Lower with the gang gang, you know we don't play gang. East Coast with the gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang, Lower with the gang gang, you know we don't play gang. East Coast.
Let's go. Let's make this happen. So, got some good Q&A coming. All right. What is up, Papa Swole? Oh, this is how I roll. This is how I get yoked. Coffee. Sunday.
The sun is shining. The birds are chirping. The bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Testing. Testing. A test equals. Welcome everyone to episode 1000. I almost said 900. 1003 of the Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular swolecast, beercast, broadcast, gangcast, mancast, pimpcast, sleazecast, and slaycast in the realm. Because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. What is going on, everyone? It is Sunday, Funday, Q&A, and I'm just putting in the headline. It didn't copy, so I can't paste it. There we go. Getting that done for Instagram. Welcome. What is up? I got to use my hands. Got to get very fucking physical. I got to swing my hands around. It's Sunday Funday. Wacky, wavy, inflatable arm flailing too, man. It's Papa Swole. Oh, what is up? What's going on? Welcome for everyone that's joining. If you're first time to the Swole, make sure you say what up. If it's your virgin Swole, I get it. Everyone's got a first time. Everyone's got a first time for Papa Swole. Everyone's got a first time. If it's your first time, drop it down below. I'll be gentle. Just the tip, I promise. Fuck you. All the way to the taint every day, especially on Sunday Funday Q&A. And it's Super Bowl Sunday Funday. A lot of you probably watch the foosball. I will not be partaking. However, I know a lot of you do, so I hope you enjoy watching other people do physical activity. I hope you enjoy that. And be good. Don't be naughty. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about put that fucking chip down. It's only fucking up your butthole. It's fucking up your butthole. It's going to come out. It's going to hurt. It's going to burn. And yeah, all that. The devil's in the chip dip. The devil. Don't double dip the chip. Everyone. I got chap lips. All right, here we go. I didn't pin that post. All right, so what we got going on today is Sunday Funday Q&A. So if you are new to the show, every Sunday we do a Sunday Funday Q&A where I post on Facebook and Instagram on Saturday. And my heart's going a mile a minute because that was a hell of an intro, and I've consumed a significant amount of coffee before this episode. So I post on Saturday, and you get to ask your questions. So right now we're live. We're live everywhere on Facebook. We're live on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. I am everywhere at Swolenormous, and I'm getting a lot of great feedback. A lot of you have been really loving the brand new Driving While Gaining on YouTube. So first off, if you're not yet subscribed on YouTube, please subscribe. I told you yesterday, you're actively insulting me if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel. So we're making that big push. If you're not checking out those videos, please do. You'll enjoy it. It's fun. It's fun. And you can watch it with the kids. You can watch, hey, who doesn't want to watch a Driving While Gaining with the kiddos, you know, gather up the family, put on the big screen, watch a little DWG. I'm kidding. Don't do that. Unless you want to advance them like 20 years in life, language-wise. Yeah, it's not quite recommended for under 21, I would say. It's not even 18. It's not even 18. Like, you have to, if you're able to drink, you can watch the Daily Swole. You have to be of legal age to drink alcohol in order to watch the Daily Swole. What's up? What's up, Daniel, Melissa, Shane, Dennis on Facebook? I'm not watching. I'm not going to anyone else's party either. Yeah, fuck their party. Fuck their parties. It's Monday morning here in Australia. Well, hello, Down Under. Happy Monday. Is it a myth that you cannot train when you're really sore? It's not a myth. If you're sore, your body is damaged and broken down. It's probably not the wisest idea. It's not a myth. It's your body is injured and it's recovering. So you can do whatever the fuck you want. It's just not necessarily recommended to do intense activity when your body is already damaged. Are you going to watch the Super Bowl? I already answered that. No, don't give zero fucks about who's playing, who's winning, whatever. I'll be aware of it just because it'll pop up in my feed. I'll hear stuff about it. I don't care. I really don't. I don't see how anyone can really care. It's my team. I'm rooting for them. Like, I get if you enjoy football, you enjoy the sport, fine. You can enjoy anything in this world. I just don't get, like, taking it personally. People take that shit personally. If they win, they feel like they won. No, you didn't. The people that are playing won. You just watched it, and you just like the colors of their t-shirts, and you like the logo. You like the little... It's weird. It's like religion. It's weird. It's really weird. It's the same thing. It's like vegans, religion, and football. It's like a same kind of the whole team mentality. I get it if you're on the team, but when you support a team, it gets a little bit weird sometimes. It depends on how you get weird about it. Some people get really fucking weird about it. I think we all know. Come on, that's a great thing for this. That's a great thing for this, that fucking jabroni episode. That's what that's about. It's for that jabroni episode. It's for the jabroni episode. There's always that jabroni. You can watch a sport, but everyone knows that fucking person that just takes it way too seriously. If you want to say something to that person that you know that takes it way too seriously, you could drop that in the comments below. I think you have a few words for that person, don't you? All right, so let's get to the first question. So if you dropped questions, you can drop them live. You can drop the questions down live. I'll get to them when I can, but however, the priority is going to be I'm going to try to mix it up, but I'm going to take as many as I can from those that actually ask the questions ahead of time on the post. So if you have questions, you could drop them below, and I'll try to go back and forth between the posts on Instagram and Facebook and live, and we'll see how many we can get through. No guarantee that I'm going to get to everyone's question, as always, but I try to do a little bit of everything. Do you take any test boosters? No. That's from Instagram right now, so that's a quick no. I would not take anything like that. Do not take stay away from that fucking shit. If you're going to do testosterone replacement from your doctor, that's a whole other thing. Matt J. Brown on Instagram, fan of PPL. I don't even know what PPL is. And apparently it's push-pull legs. So I'm like, oh, you mean push-pull legs? I didn't know that deserved an acronym. Everything's got an acronym. PPL. It's like, okay. PPL, LOL, LMFAO. Just everything's got an acronym now. So am I a fan of push-pull legs? Sure. I mean, a fan, I guess. Okay. I don't mind it. Remember, every kind of programming, every kind of activity, everything the body can and should be able to do is a tool. It's literally a tool. Okay. We've talked about this before in terms of different exercises, different styles. Everything is a tool in your toolbox. You have the ability to do 20 reps. You have the ability to do 2 reps. You have the ability to do 6 sets. You have the ability to do 2 sets. You have the ability to work out 7 days a week. You have the ability to do 1 day a week. You have the ability to do different things. They're just different tools and styles depending on how your body responds, your scheduling, your consistency, your goals, everything. It has to do with everything else. It's not that simple. Hey, what's the best? That's not the right question. What's the best for you? That's the right mindset. And then you have to approach it a certain way in order to determine that. You can't just jump into, hey, I'm going to do this. What's the best way? What's the best way for me? Might not be what's the best way for you. And it's taken me 20 years to figure out what kind of system I like now and what my body responds to, what my body can be consistent with. And that didn't happen overnight. Trust me, I didn't know 20 years ago what I know today. No one does. Next question. Bercules Beredor. Holy name. How good are step-ups with weight as an exercise for a mountain climbing prep? I don't know. I mean, step-ups with weight are a good exercise. In terms of practicing climbing a mountain, I don't think there's anything that replaces actually climbing a mountain. It can help, I would assume, because you're stepping upwards when you step up, but there are no stairs on a mountain. So it's a lot of calf work. It's a lot of on the balls of your feet. It's a lot of leaning. It's a lot of chaos and randomness. So you have to do both. It would be good for strength, but endurance, I mean, it's just different. It's different. It's similar movements, but it's so different. It's like running on a treadmill and then running outside because the stairs are doing the work. The treadmill's doing the work. You're just lifting your leg. And then when you actually go out on the road, it's hard to maintain that certain speed because the treadmill's not helping you. So people can run farther on a treadmill than they can outside, and faster at a faster pace usually. I'm not talking about like elite athletes. Retro Mermaid, do you read others' blogs? No. What has been the toughest point of defeat? What defeat? What has been the toughest point of defeat? I don't know. I don't think of anything as defeat. Like I haven't lost. I don't know. If you think of things as defeat, you could be defeated in battle maybe, or in a sport or in a game. But in life, there is no score. I'm not keeping score. It's not wins and losses. It's not zeros and ones, really. There's no winning in life. There's no losing in life. You just take what you are doing. You absorb and you move on. So I don't really know what context that question has or is. Miss Waffles 11. I got a dog bite. Ooh, a dog bite. On my left wrist, defending my dog against 2 other ones on Wednesday. That sucks. I primarily do kickboxing and walking. I felt very frustrated that I couldn't use my left arm. Is it better to say I just couldn't do this particular workout until I enjoy it again, or just say it is what it is and deal with the frustration? You could do enough to get a bit of sweat. I don't understand. You got a dog bite and you're not able to do the full workout that you normally do because you can't use your left arm as much. It is what it is. What do you mean? I shouldn't do this particular. I don't know why you're working out anyway. If you're not using, you can't use your arm, so you're just using one side of your body. Do something. Do like yoga. Do like lower body stuff. How about fixing your fucking arm? I mean, I don't understand what the question is. I'm sorry you got dog bit, but just either do it or don't. This translates a little bit into other things like injuries. If you have injuries, you're going to work around them in the sense that if you have a sprained ankle, your body is going to limp. It's going to realign itself. Your posture is going to get fucked up. The problem is after you heal that, after you heal your injury, for example, a lot of times your gait and how you walk and your posture has changed and it's different. So an injury, and oftentimes like a weak or a bad ankle, can lead to a bad knee on the other side. And then you're compensating with that right knee by using your left leg more. So eventually that left knee, because of the different angles and the extra pressure that's not normally used to receiving, down the line, your left leg starts hurting and then your neck hurts. So it can lead to other sides. So an injury on one side can lead to an injury long-term on the other side. The most important thing is that you don't just start using your other arm more often, and you work on balancing that as soon as you can. So the exercise is up to you. That just sounds like a head game. And don't worry, I mean, you got bit, so you can't use your arm, then just work around it. Gabby16 Melly. First of all, thank you for all the information you provide. I've been going to the old podcast for a few days and they're awesome. Thank you. Now my question is about carb cycling. What are your thoughts on that? I want to build lean muscle, but at the same time, lose the last 10 pounds I have. Thank you. You got to pick one. Stop thinking you're going to do everything at the same time. I don't care what anyone says. Oh, you can build muscle, lose fat as long as you're in a... It's just a mind fuck. You're micromanaging your food. First off, I don't know what you're eating, so I don't know what I can give you in terms of advice. I personally don't like carb cycling at all. I don't like it in terms of an actual strategy where it's like, okay, 3 days off, 1 day high, 1 day medium. I don't like that at all. That's big time micromanaging of food. You'll have crazy fucking cravings because you're still going high carb or moderate carb and you're doing this kind of thing. You shouldn't be eating a lot of net carbs anyway. You should be keeping carbohydrates low. Higher fiber and lower impact carbohydrates. Your diet should generally be much more fat based and fat adapted. Not saying ketosis, but anytime you're cycling carbohydrates, you're going to have a ton of fucking cravings. You're going to have a ton of those types of just relapses because you're doing this carb cycling. So that's kind of like intermittent fasting, how it doesn't work for a lot of people because of those cravings and that tend to overeat. Joseph James 14. Let's see. Oh, so in other words, you need to focus on what you're eating. So I don't really know what you're eating. So you don't need to, it doesn't matter about cycling if you're eating the wrong foods. If you're not consuming quality nutrients and you're dealing with inflammation, it's going to be hard for you to get rid of that last extra weight no matter what you do if you're eating the wrong shit. Joseph James 14. When did you start practicing yoga? Probably 10 years ago or so. What are the benefits from hot yoga that you won't find in other types? That the hot has a lot of benefits. So some of the benefits, there's the positive release in the body from, it's like sauna, the same benefits from doing excessive heat and excessive cold, like cryotherapy, taking your body through those extreme ranges of survival. And that's another benefit to doing resistance training, to doing any type of endurance work, to doing anything that stresses your body, that adds a stress response. There's good stress and there's bad stress. So stress is something that your body needs to be able to handle and overcome. If you have chronic stress, you can have chronic issues and inflammation. To put your body through stress, temporary stress, like weight training, like hot yoga or a sauna or cryotherapy, things like that, it stretches essentially the mind and the body. It puts the body under duress and it gets those body processes working. So it allows things like fasting and not eating all the time, not doing small meals all the time. Intermittent fasting or 1 day of fasting and taking your break from certain nutrients is beneficial because it puts your body through that kind of survival mechanism in which a lot of cleansing can take place and a lot of positive adaptations can happen. You don't want to always live in the middle. And that's why building muscle takes overload. It takes stress. Your body has to adapt to it. So it's good for you to give yourself a little bit extra. So good question. Tanya, for someone that's just getting into deadlifts, how many sets and reps is recommended? I focus on form, blah, blah, blah. Should I up the sets? It depends. If you're just getting into deadlifts, you need to make sure you have perfect form. You want to start with not going to failure. More moderate, higher repetitions is always recommended. If you're going to increase the volume, increase the sets, or if you're going to increase the sets when you drop the reps. So if you increase the weight lifted, you want to drop the volume. You want to drop the weight. You want to drop the sets, I mean. So if you're doing, let's say you're doing 4 sets of a weight that you can get 15 times. When you go to 12, let's say you up the weight and you're doing a weight that you can only do for 10 or 12 times, you're going to drop the sets to 3, for example. And then once you get used to that, then you can add a set maybe in the next week or 2. And then you go like that. So if you're going to add more weight and go heavier, then you drop the amount of sets that you're doing. Otherwise, it doesn't mean you can't handle it for a workout, but then you can really overstress the body and progress yourself too fast, and you start risking injury more. Colorado Freeze. Ever since I started working my prone cobra and press, I feel better. Posterior activation of my lifts, as you should. Do you have any recommendations for a certain isometric hold or a particular exercise to really pump blood directly into the posterior delt? Literally what you're doing. That's why those exercises work for the posterior activation, because they work the posterior deltoid. That was me. Oh, that felt good. That felt really good. Do posterior rear delt and do isometric holds. You're asking me any recommendations for a certain isometric hold or a particular exercise to really pump blood to the posterior delt. Do a prone posterior delt raise and do an isometric hold. You answered your own question. Most people don't do isometric holds for shoulders and they miss out big time. AZ Guy 11. Do you believe it's important to program a deload? Yes. If yes, take time off or cut the weight only. Completely neither of those. You never want to take time off. You want to do more active recovery and yoga and foam rolling and stuff. So yeah, it's important to program a deload. You could either have that ahead of time in your program, or you can do it when you feel like you need to. Vedita, how does reaching 1,000 episodes make you feel? Fine. Kind of like I don't necessarily really believe that I'm at 1,000 yet in my head, to be honest. I keep saying hundreds. It's so weird because for 1,000 straight days, I was saying 999. Today, I almost said 1,000. I said 1,003. How has the Daily Swole changed your life for the better? I get to meet all of you. I get to talk to all of you. I get to help a lot of people. I get to get my voice out there and spread the word of gains. And it helps me be very, very consistent with my day and have a purpose, like a real purpose and something that I feel passionate about doing every single day. So it's only made my life amazingly better, but it wasn't easy, that's for sure. And it's still not easy. Pete B03, you don't seem to be big on cardio such as running, bike, Stairmaster. My more immediate goal is to drop pounds. That's not true. I'm not necessarily big on cardio. I'm not a hardcore cardio person, but cardiovascular activity is beneficial. It depends on what your goal is. I have changed my diet completely, healthy foods, eating very healthy foods 7 days a week for quite a while. So, all right, I'll break down this question in a second. If you had yourself a more immediate goal of weight loss, what would be your go-to cardio exercise? Probably eating the right foods and doing that better. And it's all about caloric restriction and excess if you're eating the right food. So you say, I'm eating completely very healthy food 7 days a week for quite a while. That's so fucking vague. I can't even get any information from that. I don't know what, I mean, and not to mention, not that you're going to be able to give me all that information in a question or expect to, but I don't know what healthy foods mean. Just because you think you're eating healthy food doesn't mean it's the best food for your body. I don't know what you're actually eating. And quite a while, I don't know what that means. So quite a while is a vague term. Does that mean 3 years? Does that mean 3 weeks? Does that mean a week? Yeah, I've been doing it for a couple months. Like, I don't know what that is. And you're trying to drop a couple pounds. Cardio is not like going to be what determines whether or not you lose weight. That's not what cardio does. Cardio taxes the cardiovascular system. What are you trying? I mean, you're trying to lose a couple extra pounds, then eat less food. You have to cut your calories. And if you're eating the right foods, it's very easy to feel full and to cut down your caloric intake. Just pick one. I'm not big on telling people to go running and stuff. Not that you shouldn't be running, but most people don't have the proper posture and the proper running technique, and most people use running shoes. So I feel like it's pretty negligent to just tell people, hey, you should go running, because they're going to be wearing fucking running shoes and smashing on their heels and jacking up their body. And most people have hip tightness. I think recommending people to go running with bad posture is negligent. So I don't recommend people go running. I think the step mill is great at those gyms, like the rotating stairs. I think hill sprints, those things are less impact and will, I guess, balance out poor posture more than other methods. In my opinion, in my experience, doing hill sprints is less impact on the knees, not running down, running up or a low incline, and it will tax the body and give enough intensity that will, with that trade-off of intensity or the impact on the joints, for example, will, keep people a little bit more safe. And plus interval training and that kind of like higher intensity, shorter bursts is really beneficial for burning fat. You're not burning fat in the fucking moment. It's what you do after. So keep lifting your weights. Again, I don't know what you're eating for food. I don't know how long you've been doing it. I don't know anything about your training program, what you're doing for weights. You're just asking about cardio. So I can't really answer that question without knowing anything about what you're doing. This is why if you go online and you follow cookie cutter advice, that's why a lot of times it doesn't work. All those things I just said is 100% true. It doesn't mean that he's going to see terrible results if he adds cardio, but I don't know anything about what he's eating. I don't know anything about what he's doing for his physical training. I don't know anything about his sleep patterns. I don't know anything about this person. So it's like, what would be my go-to? So let's say I tell him swimming. So this guy goes and swims. I don't know if that's going to fucking help him anymore. It's just a stupid response, but a lot of, quote, fitness pros want to give an answer. So I'm going to give an answer if there's an answer that can be given. But there's a lot of things I don't have answers for to answer this question. I don't have enough information. Married to Jean, I started back lifting after losing 65 pounds. What can I take for the soreness afterwards? You can start a proper lifting program with active recovery. You can eat healthy. You can drink more water. You can rest more. You can sleep better. I don't even know how to start to answer that question. The soreness afterwards, you're going to be sore. You just started lifting. You're going to be sore. I lift regularly and I still get sore. M7MD JML, killing the work at the gym, sleeping and eating well, but don't see much gains, plus working out for 7 to 8 months. Any advice? Yeah, I mean, you might need a different program. You might not be eating properly, eating enough or eating enough amount of food. Killing the work at the gym, I don't know what that means. Sleeping and eating well, again, I don't know what that means. So you're not doing something right. So I do have a lot of advice, but I don't know what you're doing. So one of the things that is important to understand when you're thinking about these, because even if you're not asking this question, a lot of you are thinking, I don't know if this is working. Maybe I should change something up. And a lot of you come here with these questions, which is valid. Okay. I don't know. I'm not seeing the results that I want. What should I change? So I want you to think about this. First off, how are you measuring your results? How are you measuring your results? So this person, I'm not calling this dude out, and the question's fine, but here's the problem with the question. I don't see much gains. I mean, I'm gonna break down this entire question. So anyone that's either listening to this live or after, you really get context and how you should be asking questions. And not just that, how you formulate your questions is really how you're having this internal dialogue with yourself. So you think you're killing the work at the gym. You say you're sleeping and eating well, but you don't see much gains, plus been working out for 7 to 8 months. Any advice? I'm gonna give you advice on what you're thinking about to even ask this question. And I want everyone to pay attention to this. So first off, you've been working out for 7 to 8 months. That's nothing. I've been working out for almost 20 years. It takes time. Not that 7 to 8 months isn't long enough to see results. You can see amazing results. So that in itself, it's a journey. I was working out for a long time and I was losing too much weight. I was doing things wrong for a while. I got really skinny and lean. When I first started training like 20 years ago, I got really shredded. I was doing salads and doing tons of cardio and blah, 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 working out really long in the gym. And I got abs and I was really wiry and I wasn't bulky. And I was like, oh, this is not how you are healthy. This is not how you bulk up and build muscle. I was doing like really kind of draining myself. And then I realized, oh, I got to eat a lot. I got to bulk. And then the rest was history. But you're not always doing stuff correctly. So let's go back to this. Killing the work at the gym. That's vague. That's your opinion. You're working out hard. Chances are you're not working out as hard as you should or properly. That's an opinion. That's a subjective opinion. You're killing the work at the gym. Well, it doesn't matter if you think you are you? I don't know. I don't know what you're doing. Are you working as hard as me? Are you working as hard as someone else? Who are you comparing yourself to? Just because you feel like you did a good workout doesn't mean you had a good workout. Doesn't mean it is something that you should be doing for your body. So it's just vague. Eating well, I don't know what that means. And you don't see much gains. That's the most important part of this too, because I don't know what that means. You don't see, are you measuring? Are you doing bioelectrical impedance? Those kind of shitty methods? Are you doing skin calipers? Are you using a measuring tape? Are you taking pictures? Are you doing underwater weighing? Are you doing DEXA? Like, how are you measuring? You just don't feel like you're seeing progress. You don't think you're seeing progress. You don't like what you see because you're going to look different day to day. I've almost learned to ignore the fact that when I look and I feel a little flat, you're looking in the mirror and you're like, how you feel, what mirror you look at, the lighting, if you're bloated, if you had a lot of water, if you woke up first thing in the morning. I don't know. It's just, there's so many, like that question is like 4 or 5 parts of just vague. So I don't know how to answer. I do have a lot of advice. Give more context, and you're doing something wrong or not well enough. That's it. If you're not gaining, if your goal is to gain and you're not gaining, you're not eating enough probably. And but I'm eating all day long. Everyone thinks they're eating all day long. You know why? Because when you feel full, you don't want to eat. So just because you're full, that's your warnings. That's your body telling you, okay, I've had enough. It's not healthy to engorge all the time. It's not healthy to bulk up. All right. It's not healthy to fucking eat a ton of food all the time. It's stressful in the body. It's stressful. We're not designed to have excess. We're designed to have the opposite. We're designed to have scarcity with food, which is why when you have excess, that's why doing periods of fasting, that's why not eating all day is good. Doesn't mean you have to do intermittent. Those of you that ask these questions, doesn't mean you have to do intermittent fasting, but it's been shown that fasting and eating less and not eating to being completely stuffed to your fucking gills is better for longevity. It's better for your health. It doesn't mean you can't gain too, but you have to keep that in mind. What are you trying to go? Are you trying to get a physical result, or are you trying to be healthier? Big difference. Which is why pro bodybuilders, they're not healthy. They're big, shredded, but they're taking every drug under the sun. And yeah, they're not healthy, but they look a certain way. So do you want performance? Do you want an effect? Or do you want health? Wisp, noon question. What's a noon question? Aside from cardio, clean eating, what can you suggest for the over 300 crowd? I don't suggest cardio. Clean eating is a vague term again, so I don't know what clean eating means. It means eating the right food. You need to be eating the right fucking food. What can I suggest for the over 300? Weightlifting, yoga, patience, and trying to do better every single day. I don't recommend cardio. If you're over 300 pounds, you probably shouldn't be smashing on your joints anyway. So it's really big on nutrition. It's big on resistance training, yoga, balance, learning how to move your body through space. It's the same. If you're over 300 or you're over 200, if you're over what you should be, the answer is going to be the same for the most part for everyone. Moto Kid. And if you're not doing yoga, that's the first thing you should be doing. That's the first fucking thing you should be doing. Anyone, I don't care what your goal is. If you're trying to build muscle, if you're ever trying to lose muscle, if you're trying to gain fat, lose fat, build fat, anything you're trying to do, anything, I don't care what your goal is. Hey, I'm trying to do this. Hey, I have a question. Hey, I have a question. Cool. If you're not doing yoga, that's part of my answer for all of you. You add yoga to whatever you're doing. Most of you are doing some kind of strength training. That too. If you're not doing strength training, you add that. If you're not doing yoga, you add that. Those are two answers for whatever question you're going to ask. If you're not doing that already, you add those two things. I've heard that apple cider vinegar is good for you. Is that correct? I don't know. I think there's mixed input on that. I put apple cider vinegar when I'm leaching the minerals from the bone broth. People take a shot of that. I'm not sure if that's actually been proven to be beneficial to take a shot of it. It's a natural anti-acid reflux instead of taking those things. But if you're having acid reflux, you shouldn't be taking apple cider vinegar to heal it. You shouldn't be taking Prilosec to get rid of it. You should be focusing on fixing your gut biome and your diet in order to not have acid reflux. So you don't want to put Band-Aids on the problem, but apple cider vinegar has like thousands of home remedies. You can clean with it. You can use it as a facial toner and disinfectant. You can use it for a lot of different things. So in terms of like drinking it, is it the best thing? I don't think it's going to harm you, but you just don't want to like make sure. I think it can wear the enamel down because of the vinegar in your teeth. So just be careful with it. Sabitsa Woe, you've mentioned in some of your videos eating ground beef with a certain percentage of organ meat. Do you find that at a butcher shop? I guess you could get it from a butcher shop. You can order it online. There are many sites that ship grass-fed beef that you can just Google simple, or you can find it locally. Usually when you go to any kind of like shop, butcher shop, Whole Foods, you ask them how you want your beef and anything, and they'll make it for you. So most people don't even know that. They don't ask. Like if you buy something, oh, can you clean that? Oh, can you chop that up? Can you put it in these things? Can you make that patty in? They'll do it. Like just a lot of people just don't want to, I don't want to impose. I don't want to ask. It's like you tell them what you want and they'll tell you if they can do it for you. Landon Brock, thoughts on weighted calisthenics and heavy kettlebell training. Heavy kettlebell training is the same opinion as heavy weight training. If you're lifting kettlebells a lot and you want to go heavier with kettlebells, and go heavier. It's like any kind of progression. Weighted calisthenics, like what? Like a weighted vest and doing pull-ups? Nothing wrong with it. Also, good recipes for sweet potatoes. Been eating them recently and fucking love them. Yeah, cook them and eat them. Bake them and eat them. Those are good recipes. You can make chips out of them. You can do things with them. I like to cook them and then put them in my mouth. And then I like to chew them and then I like to swallow them. So if you're looking for all these like fancy recipes and all these different options, go on Google and type in sweet potato recipes. And I appreciate you coming here and asking old Papa Swolio, but if you're coming to me personally for interesting recipes, you are in the wrong place. Because I have my recipes and I have them on Swolenormous X and I have things that I eat, but I'm very, very consistent. I eat the foods. It's for me, a recipe is usually the meal. Meaning, if I'm eating a salad, it's a salad. It's not like some fancy salad recipe. It's like, here's the salad. Here's the Brussels sprouts or the asparagus. That's just like how you make the asparagus, not a recipe. I cook them and I eat them. A sweet potato and the beef, I just take the foods cooked and I put them together on a plate and I consume them. So I guess you can call them a recipe, but it's like salt and pepper and this and okay. But I literally take the sweet potatoes, I clean them and I put them in the oven at 400 for an hour and they're done. And then I cool them off. I make sure they're cool before I eat them. And then I eat it like an ice cream. Kind of put it in a paper towel and I eat it. That's it. I just eat it. So I don't have anything fancy, but Google has 1,000 recipes for you. And Google is eager to share them with you. Google is eager to share the recipes with you. I am too, but I just don't have any really. But let's say Jen Soto, 5 small meals a day are intermittent fasting. It's up to you. It's better to go without food more often than you think, but that depends. Everything you read contradicts each other because most people like to have an answer and don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So intermittent fasting isn't a law, isn't a rule. I do like fasting myself. I don't like eating all day long. It's not good to have excess all the time. Again, it depends on what your goal is. If you're trying to bulk up and put on a lot of muscle, you are going to need to get a lot of extra calories. And rather than stuff your face, if it's even possible, at one meal, if you're trying to eat 4,000 calories a day, think about trying to eat 4,000 calories of quality food at one time, almost impossible. Or you break that up into like 6 meals of 700 calories, which is still a shitload of food, but you spread it out. So that's kind of like, that's where that came from, the small meals throughout the day, because bodybuilders needed to get in a lot of calories. So in order to get that and quality food, you can't eat it all at one time. So you have to break it up. But I personally prefer to have coffee earlier. I usually don't eat till later on in the day just because I'm busy, and I don't do the whole eating 5, 6, 7 times a day. I don't do that shit anymore. I used to a long time ago when I was bulking because, again, like I mentioned, to get in a lot of quality, if you're not eating shit, to eat a lot of quality calories throughout the day, you got to eat a lot of times. It's easier to do it that way. Live on Instagram are suggestions to help with bloat. Yeah, elimination diet. You got to cut out those inflammatory foods. You shouldn't be having bloating. You shouldn't be having bloating. That's not something that you should be actively dealing with. That means you're eating something in your nutrition, something in your diet is stressing out your body. You're having an inflammatory response. The gorilla chef, when looking at different body types, ectomorph, endomorph, and mesomorph, what role does that play in fitness and eating? Zero. That's been debunked like long ago. I would not put any stock into any of those body types. There's genetic factors that, you know, we're still figuring out today, but don't hide behind that endomorph, ectomorph game. There's a fair bit of eat this and do these workouts if you're a meso. Yeah, because people like answers. That's why you're asking questions. People like straight fucking answers. People like, hey, what's the answer to this question? Oh, it's this. Cool. Did I get 100 on my test? Yes, you did. Yes, you did, Johnny. You passed. Everyone likes to know, oh, are you in this category? Cool. I'm an endomorph. What's good for me? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, if you're between this age, click here. If you're between this, click here. Oh, you're an endomorph. Click here. Oh, you're a mesomorph. Oh, you should do this. If you're an endomorph, you should do this. Eat this way. Train this way. No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. You're at a different starting point. All right. Your bones aren't bigger. You have the same fucking skeleton as anyone else. You're not big boned. You're not big boned. Does that mean that different people could have slightly different densities of bone? Yeah, but if you do an x-ray, you see a hugely obese person. It's very, very similar in bone density to someone that's skinny. Maybe their legs, if they walk around a lot, their legs might have a little more bone density because they're carrying around a lot of extra body fat, but they're not like, you're going to be you're a product of your genetics in a way that maybe how your parents were. If your parents were obese when they had you, if your parents were overweight when they gave birth to you, that means your certain epigenetics are figuring out, certain genes are turned on, certain genes are more receptive. You're more likely to have issues with your weight if your parents were obese when they fucking conceived you and when they gave birth to you. And of course, what you're eating when you're growing up. Like, there's a lot of factors. So you didn't just like happen to be obese. Like, oh, magic. You know, I mean, if you're obese and you're programmed that way by your parents and what you've been eating and what you've been growing up your entire life, yeah, some people are not in like the best position or not given the best chance to succeed with that from their youth. And we see that more and more every day. So a lot of you are the product of how you were raised, fortunately or unfortunately. So I wouldn't worry so much about, doing a certain workout if you're an endomorph. What do you mean? If you're overweight? If you're overweight, you still got to be doing all the things that I mentioned. That's what I would recommend for people that are overweight. If you're an overweight person, you should be doing yoga. You should be cutting out a lot of these inflammatory foods. You should be going back to zero to figure out what foods are best for your body. That's what the elimination diet is. That's what the elimination process is that we do inside Swole Enormous X. We cut out all these extra things that are commonly issues for people. That's the process. You know what? All these things could be a problem. Any different combination of these things. And for different people, they could be different levels. So what we're going to do, and this is what we do inside our members, inside Swole Enormous X, we go to the problem. We're like, let's figure out what's the best diet for you. What's the best approach for you? What's the optimal foods that you should be consuming as an individual? That's the only responsible way to help someone with their nutrition. That's the only responsible way to help someone figure out their best or their optimal path for fitness. As someone who's gone through a lot of this myself, as someone who's gone through this with members, with thousands and thousands of clients and members of Swole Enormous X, this is what we do. And this works because it gives you the accountability, the responsibility, and the power to figure out what foods and what lifestyle approach is optimal for you. Not something that I did. Here, do what I do. That's just a starting point. Okay. It's about figuring it out for you. And it's not like, hey, you're just on your own. No, that's not what it is. But there's a systematic approach to get started with figuring out your building blocks, your optimal building blocks. And anyone that's watching right now, if you've done the elimination, especially those of you that are already members of Swolenormous X, put it in the comments. This process works. It's not overnight, but you'll get the most long-term results because you're approaching your fitness and your nutrition the right way. For real. Barbecue sheep dip. I work in a limestone mine. I take a vitamin D supplement. Any recommendation for those of us who don't get enough sun? Vitamin D supplements, I think you got to make sure that you're getting one that's very absorbable. Vitamin D has some things that you need to take with it. Any recommendations for those that don't get enough sun to get more sun? You should get some. You should get some sun, like 10 minutes a day. Maybe like 10, 15 minutes a day at some point. Any recommendations? The only real replacement for that is to get sun. Human beings are supposed to be awake during the day and at sleep at night. I understand you work indoors. I mean, I'm indoors a lot, but I still try to go outside, take off my shirt. But you don't need a ton of sun. You don't need to be like, cooking in the sun and getting a tan. You just need to have your sleeves open. Like even if you get a few minutes or work your schedule around it. I know you work in a mine, so I don't even know what that means. In the winter, none. Well, a lot of people don't get a lot of sun in the winter, depending on where you live. That's why you have those things up in Alaska and the Arctic Circle. Some of you live up there. I know some of you watching and listening, but you have some days where you're not getting any sun, and there's that seasonal anxiety disorder, SAD, right? You get that seasonal, you get that a lot of depression, you get a lot of suicide, you get a lot of low mood in the winter because people are bundled up. And even if you're outside in the wintertime, you're bundled up and you're not exposing your skin to the sun. That's a tough answer. I don't know if anyone else has any opinions, but really the only replacement to get more sun is to get sun. As far as I know, I don't know if there's any like supplement that helps with that. I mean, aside from getting the minerals and things that you need that are good for you. Ashley Bornheimer. Mine isn't really workout related. That's okay. It doesn't have to be. I've seen a lot of videos and you inspire people to assert fitness into their lives, but you don't really tell much about yourself. I talk about myself all the time. What'd you do before fitness? I did fitness. What pushed you to be the motivator you are? I love doing what I do. I love sharing my knowledge and information. This is not a bio about me. This is just a question. Some background on you as an overall person. You're going to have to go back and listen to some podcasts. I'm not going to give my bio right now. Do you have kids? Jesus Christ, what the fuck? What's my social security number? What's my address? Do I have any tattoos that you can't see? I'm just joking. You should not put all this stuff down. I feel like knowing more about my fitness coach. Am I your fitness coach? Or are you telling me that I'm your fitness coach? Helps me connect with them more every time I see your post. I feel like your life is a mystery. Good. I don't want you to know everything about me. What is this? I love the question. I appreciate you following, Ashley. But yeah, I talk a lot about my past. I talk a lot about my history, my bio. I'm not going to go into all that now, but you have plenty of podcast episodes. So you can catch up and find out more about Papa Swolio. And we do a lot of a lot of broadcasts in Swolenormous X. I'm going live all the time. Those of you that are members of Swolenormous X, I'm always going live in the private group, and we're having frank conversations. And inside members get a lot more access to me, and we have it's much more casual. But yeah, what's my blood type? Yeah, this isn't about me. This is about you. So I'm eager to answer your questions. That's just asking more about that. If you had a specific question, just general. But no, I don't have kids. So there you go. Skidell Jennifer. Hey, Daddy, a.k.a. Papa Swolio. Your advice on speed and tempo of a workout with free weights. Slow versus fast. Impact of starting position. What do you mean by starting position? I'm not sure. Just curious about your take on explosive lifting. It's great. You have what normal lifting, I guess, patterns are: slow eccentric and then an explosive concentric movement, which usually triggers the most overload on the muscle because your body is stronger. The muscles are stronger during the eccentric part of the contraction. So for example, for a given weight, if you're just going up and down, let's say let's just talk bench press, because most people can, even if you're listening, you can picture what a bench press is and what a bench press does. You're doing 2 reps, 2 seconds on the way down, 1, 2, up, 1, 2, down, 1, 2. Okay, and then you get tired. You can't lift another rep. You can't push, and then you're done. Boom. That's because you're concentric. When the muscle is shortening, that's the weakest type of the contraction for a muscle. So there's 3. There's concentric, isometric, and eccentric, and the body is going to give out first with its weakest type of contraction. The body is weakest when it's trying to overcome the resistance. So even though you can't lift the bar off your chest anymore, you would still be able to lower it slow and controlled if someone had it up at the top again for you, which is the principle behind negatives and eccentric training. So the best way to get the most out of your muscle during a given set, if you're using a specific weight, because let's say you have 100 pounds on the bar, it's not going to be 50 pounds on the weight, 50 pounds on the way up, and then 100 pounds on the way down, and then blah, blah, blah. So what you can do is just change the tempo of your training. So do a longer eccentric, do it for like maybe 3, 4, 5 seconds, and then drive it up, and then slow on the way down. That way, with a given weight, you're giving your eccentric part of the contraction more time under tension. Even though you won't be lifting as much overall load, you'll be fatiguing that part of the muscle. You'll be fatiguing the muscle more during the strongest range of motion. And actually, when you get sore the next day from a workout, you're not getting sore from the concentric part of the contraction. You're getting sore from the eccentric. You're getting sore from when the muscle is lengthening, but then trying to overcome the force and decelerate the weight. So that's when you're actually getting sore. So if you do a ton of negatives, you want to get sore. If that's your goal, you do a lot of negatives or eccentric or negatives on pull-ups or push-ups or bench and squat. Fuck your world up. Yeah. Good question. Good question. I mean, and there's every different combination. There's isometric training and isometric holds. I mean, Charles Atlas back in the fucking day before all of us were even alive, he made the isometric training really popular, and it's very effective because that's stronger than the concentric training. Let's check out Facebook. See if the same post has questions. You can ask questions live too. You can drop them in here. Just finished my pregame Swole. Everyone's watching the foosball. Maria Lords, I would suggest getting your vitamin D levels checked before you begin supplementing. That's good advice. And that's another thing that we don't do as human beings enough. We don't get our blood work done, myself included, blood work done regularly. I'm not talking about just from a medical professional, but you can get your blood work done on your own. And that's really how you would know whether you need to supplement a lot, a little, or more. I have to be careful about too much sun in Australia. Largest rate of skin cancer here. Well, you don't have any ozone in Australia. You have like a gap in the ozone layer. Australia gets roasted. Want to know more about Papa Swolio? Go to SoundCloud and start episode 1 of the Daily Motherfucking Swole. What do you think the value in overcoming isometrics? Overcoming isometrics? What does that mean? How do you overcome isometrics? You mean doing isometrics? They're great. It's called muscles. It's called muscle contraction. Isometrics are fantastic. Doing pauses and holds and stuff, that's great. Isometrics are a great way to fully fatigue a muscle. Everyone's doing drop sets. At the end of a set, when you get your last rep, you can't do it and you can't get another one, just hold it at the top. Just fucking hold it like a curl. Just fucking hold it. That's nasty. That's nasty. Isometrics are sick for training. Let's see. What was this question yesterday? Sunday Funday. We got some comments. We got a few on Facebook. Facebook doesn't boost my fucking posts. Facebook doesn't show this to anyone. Over 100,000 people following on Facebook. Gets like a few comments because no one sees it. My post. This is what organic reach has come to. I posted, so there's over 100,000 people on my Facebook page, and it reached 700 people. The picture for the 700 people. They don't show it to anyone. So next time, that's why everyone sees and everyone's getting pissed off. Oh, there's so many ads and there's so much stuff. Yeah, because they don't allow people to see the shit that they want to see. They tell you what they want you to see. They tell you what to see. And that people like myself, if I want you to see a post, I have to fucking pay for it. It's crazy. The people that already follow my page don't see my shit. How much Travis Brunt on Facebook. So if you have any other questions, I'll answer a couple more live if you have them coming up. So let's see here. Travis Brunt, how much bulletproof coffee do you drink a day? I usually make a big blender full and I'll have a few cups. Depends on, I don't know the actual quantity, but this is a big container, but it wasn't all the way filled. But yeah, that's what I drink. I drink a few cups. Jennifer, what about adding bran, wheat germ, and brewer's yeast to foods? Good question. Usually want to stay away from wheat and grains and gluten. I think brewer's yeast, that's different. I don't get too much into, I call that fancy stuff. That's because I have no use. I don't know what I would do with any of those things in terms of my food. I don't know if anyone else has an opinion on that. I don't add any of that stuff to my food. Zero use. I don't even know how I would use that, to be honest. Shane Vest, what are your thoughts on 21-day fix Beachbody workouts? I don't know anything about it. I used to have a relationship with a company. I haven't for a long time. I don't know anything about that program. Because you said the workouts. I don't know anything about the workouts. I don't know what it is. I don't know what that is. So I don't want to give an opinion on it, but you know, any kind of workout program. Here's the thing: if you're going from zero to something, well, Clayton, you said that's why you dropped Facebook. That's Facebook owns Instagram, bro. They do this. They do the same thing on Instagram. You just don't. You might just not know it. They do it. The same thing happens on Instagram. Same company. So okay, in terms of, look, when you're going from zero to something, let's say you've never worked out before. Let's say you've never really done any kind of fitness program. You've never really done anything healthy. You're starting from scratch. What do I do? Something like that 21 day, I'm sure it works for people. I'm sure people see weight loss. Like when you're cutting out bad foods, you're restricting your calories, you're doing some exercise, you're going to lose some water weight. You're going to lose some, like, it's not the be all end all. It's going to work for some people. It's not going to work for others. It's the approach. I don't like going after caloric restriction as the main spearhead of something. I'm fine if you want to approach your nutrition with intermittent fasting. I'm fine if you want to do less meals. I'm fine if you want to implement that. But when you're eating, here's my thing. There are many different ways and styles to eat, and everyone's going to have their own beliefs and lifestyles and what they are able to stick to and be consistent. My thing, that's why I say it's the number one thing. I'm not saying it's going to be the same number one for everyone, but it's going to be at the top. It's going to make a huge difference. The number one thing you need to focus on, whether or not you want to do keto, whether or not you want to do vegan, paleo, intermittent fasting, 1 meal a day, whatever it is, when you are consuming food, you better be eating the right shit that your body responds to. Then the details of maybe you don't want to bulk up, fine. You want to cut, fine. Maybe you want to do intermittent fasting, fine. When you're eating, you shouldn't be having Rice Krispie treats or garbage because I'm intermittent fasting and I have this many calories left on my macros. Fuck that shit. It should be what you're eating fundamentally, and then how you want to work that around. Okay, research comes out that intermittent fasting is good or that fasting for 2 days is great, fine. But you're still going to eat again. You're not starving yourself the rest of your fucking life. You're going to eat food. What are you eating when you eat? You're not eating garbage. You're not eating bread and fucking grains and candy and soda. It's not about caloric limits. It is about caloric restriction. Calories matter. Energy balance matters. However, what are those calories made of? So don't take my shit out of fucking context. Don't take my stuff out of context. Not that any of this, whatever question I just read. Yeah, it's not, that's now, I'm trying to make a loud point because it's hard to unravel. The way I approach nutrition and the way my content revolves and the way all my stuff with elimination and what you eat is the most important, that point has to be extremely loud because that principle has to unlearn you the way you think fundamentally. When I talk about what you eat is more important than caloric, I'm going after people's religion, essentially. I'm going after people's identity with like macro counting and, measuring shit and counting calories and looking at the labels. This is decades and decades and decades of ingrained fucking programming. It has nothing to do with whether or not energy exists. Calories exist. And yeah, macro ratios matter. Whether or not you're eating a ton of fucking carbs all day or a ton of fat or a ton of protein, it matters. There's no doubt about it. It fucking matters. It's going to matter differently to different people. But fundamentally, when you're putting food in your face hole, it should be the right things. So I don't care what pattern, I don't care what religion you want to follow, whether you want to be vegan and do all that, whether you want to be carnivore, fine. But if you're going to be carnivore, you're going to be doing grass-fed and wild game. If you're going to be vegan, you better be doing non-GMO stuff, organic, non-inflammatory, like whatever's possible, but it should be the right foods. And if you can't get the right foods by doing vegan or by doing carnivore, then it's not the right thing for you. The right foods always win. And yeah, you still don't want to eat them in excess and eat 10,000 calories of all this quality food. But I promise you, you're not going to be able to eat 10,000 calories. You're not going to be overeating if you're eating the right shit. Try that. Try having the right foods. Try having the right foods that will satisfy your body's needs on a macro and micronutrient level, real high quality nutrients, and then try accidentally eating too much and gaining weight. You're not going to get fat by eating a fucking extra sweet potato. You're not going to be able to maintain that long term. That's an active, conscious effort to bulk over and over every fucking day, every week, every month for fucking months and years, depending on how much weight you want to gain. It's relentless, excess, focused, tactical, on purpose, conscious overeating. That's hard. It's not hard to overeat when you're spiking your insulin, drinking soda and drinking alcohol and eating chips and eating things that don't give you value, and you're still hungry for real food and you're just getting extra shit in. If you're eating the real fucking shit, that's why I say it's the most important thing, because your body will reset and you're not going to fucking overeat. It makes it so everyone's worried about, but I don't want to restrict calories. Trust me, you're not going to really think twice about it. You'll be like, oh shit, I'm full already. Oh man, you're probably going to undereat. If you start eating the right foods, I guarantee you'll start getting full. And if you calculate your calories, you're probably still lower than what you should. You probably will have to force feed yourself a little bit, honestly, even if you're restricting your calories, because the fiber, the density is going to be more and heavier and just a different type of food than you're used to eating. You're probably going to feel more full than you probably actually need to eat a little bit more and still be in your caloric deficit. It's a different type of food. It's a different type of approach. And when you're getting constantly like more quality dense food, you're not going to want to eat more. You don't want to stuff. When you're full, think about any time you're full. The last thing you think about, how many of you raise your hand? A lot of people, when the Super Bowl starts, they're going to be eating until they feel sick. Okay? When you're sick, and everyone's had this, everyone's eaten too much, right? Float some biceps and some gorillas if you've eaten too much in your life. I mean, everyone has. That feeling when you're stuffed, when you're like, hey, you want some more? You're like, oh, fuck no, hell no. You don't, right? That's the feeling that you want. You're like, I don't want any food. You just don't want it. I don't want to eat something because you're eating for entertainment. That's the proof. That means you're eating for fun. Okay? If you're full and you're eating for the taste, you're eating for that bliss point, you're eating for that salt and for that sweet. You're not eating real food that you need. When you're eating the real food, your body's like, I'm done. When you're filling up your gas tank in your car and it clicks, you don't be like, fucking take more. It's pouring out the sides. Fuck you, I'm going to put in the back seat. More. We got more room in the trunk. We only put more. No, your car's like, we're good. And you're like, okay, cool. Why can't you treat your body the same fucking way? Just fucking stop eating. Shut your mouth. Eat the real food. You're not going to overeat. No one's ever gotten fat. Oh yeah, too much grass-fed beef. Too many sweet potatoes. Too many broccoli sprouts. Too much asparagus, bro. I got to cut down on the veggies. No one's ever said that. No one's ever gotten fucking fat on fiber. No one has ever gotten sick and eaten too many. I'm fat because I'm eating too many fucking eggs. Too much bacon. No, it's usually the carbs, the fucking pancakes, the breads, the syrups, all the sugar. It's not the fat. It's not the real food. The real food. It's not. That wasn't even an answer. That was just a rant. You're welcome. Do I ever snack? What do you eat? I shouldn't say I never snack. Not really. Look, sometimes I don't eat. I'll graze. I don't call it snacking. I usually only eat like 1 or 2 meals a day, or at one point, usually later on. I haven't eaten yet today. Just drinking my coffee, but I have bulletproof coffee, so there's butter and oil in there. But if I ever just like kind of had, it's usually because I'm hungry. Usually, I wouldn't say I snack. Usually I'll eat a little bit, but it's usually because I'm working and I'm hungry and I would eat, but I have to sit in front of the fucking computer and edit and do stuff. So I can't eat a big meal and then do work. So I usually just kind of stave off when, okay, I'll finish this video. I'll have something to eat until I'm done. I can eat. So I don't really, if I was really paying attention to it, I don't consider that snacking, but I guess I'm just eating a little bit of food. You can, I don't know. You can have that, your opinion on whatever you want to call that, but I'll have olives. I like olives. I'm trying to think of anything I really snack on. I usually just eat. That's why it's hard for me to kind of think of. I guess you could have something like almonds or walnuts and shit like that, but I don't really snack. I don't snack. I pre-eat. You like that? I don't snack. I pre-eat. Because I would prefer, honestly, just for my body's sake, I try not to do any kind of like eating a little bit throughout the day. I'd rather, it's better for your body. Honestly, It's better for your body to be without food and to even feel hungry, that rather than just kind of like have a little bit and then eat again. It's usually better for you just to not eat, for your body to have no food. It's healthy. It's good for your body to go without food. It's good to fast. It's good to be without. It's good to have restriction. It's good to have less than you require for health. It is. It is. It's just, so I use that mentally. It's like, all right, I'm just not going to eat. I'll just wait till later. And I do it on purpose. Even if I'm hungry, I'll just wait. And sometimes if I'm not working out, I'm not expending a lot of energy, I'll just wait till the next day. I mean, it's going to affect my strength and a workout potentially, but you get used to it. You have to find what works best for you. But that's like my mentality. I'd rather not eat and get some benefits from the lack of calories or fasting rather than just keep on, keep the drip going. Good question. That's a good question. You got that a bunch of times. What are the right foods, veg and water? What are the right foods? Too long of a conversation. You have to figure that out. That's what the elimination process. It's more of a process, but you have to cut out a lot of those highly inflammatory foods. There's articles on the Gain Train blog. You can message me. There's actually a nutrition masterclass series that's available, and also I've done many podcasts in this past month. We started off this new year talking about this a lot, so you should go back and listen to some of those previous podcasts. Is there something special about the Bulletproof coffee? It's very satisfying and a good source of energy. You can put oil and butter in your veggies too. I mean, high fat diet is beneficial. Most professionals and scientists concur that a higher fat, lower net carbohydrate and low moderate protein is efficient for most people. Is there something, I read somewhere that the MCT oil is hard to digest, and a powered MCT oil? Powered or powdered? I don't know that it's hard to digest. I don't know if that's true. There's different types or different molecules that you can get in some specific MCT oils. Depends on the purity. It depends on maybe how it's consumed, or if it's heated or it's blended, like if people use it in coffee. MCT oil is not digested the same way because it's not a long chain fat. It's a medium chain triglyceride, which is why it's called MCT. So I have not heard about any kind of issues with digestion or absorption. Powdered oil? Yeah, I don't know what you mean by that. I've never used a powdered MCT supplement. I learned today that yoga improves your sex life. Another win. Ah, good for you, Kayla. Bow, 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 chicka wow, waka, waka, wow, waka, wow. Guys that take TRT, would you consider them natty? Depends on if you're comparing them. If you're calling natural, not using any kind of testosterone, then I guess they're not. I don't think it's cheating, though. I don't think taking steroids is cheating. It's only cheating if the rules are you should not take steroids. If the rule in sports is you cannot take these supplements, then you're cheating if you take them. If you're a guy who's going to the gym, who's taking stuff, and you're taking anabolics, I think you should be able to do that. If you're going online and telling people that you're natural and you're fucking obviously not, you're a lying piece of shit. You're not really cheating, but you're cheating people. You're being inauthentic. You're lying. So if you're being truthful with whatever you're doing, then fine, live your truth. If you want to take steroids and get fucking jacked out of your mind, it's a risk, but I mean, it's your life. I think you should do what you want. Oh, I have to restart this. Hold on a second. We're only going to be here for a couple more moments. I just have to restart Instagram a little bit because it cut off after an hour. But any other questions right now is a good time to ask them. I'm going to be heading off in a moment. Will, I got certified through Precision Nutrition, Canadian-based company, but accepted almost everywhere, blah, blah, blah. They focus first on eating the right foods before counting. Cool. I don't know anything about them. I've heard of them. I don't know anything about them, but good stuff. Cool. Certifications are cool, bro, but information's free. It's available to everyone. And that's the power of the internet. And that's the power that everyone needs to approach their own fitness with. You don't need a certification to be a healthy person. You don't need a certification to research this. You don't need a certification so for anyone listening, like, the power's in your hands, especially with your phone. It's literally in your hands. And you're not at the mercy of the medical system. You're not at the mercy of big food and big pharma. It's your control. It's under your control. And you have the ability to make the most out of your health. You don't have to wait for someone to give you a drug for you to be healthy. You can do it yourself. Supposedly the powdered MCT doesn't give you the shits. I don't have, the only way you will get the shits in my experience with the MCT oil that I use is if you take too much. If you're not using it and you just fucking chug it, yeah, if you're not used to consuming a lot of fats and you go from zero and you all of a sudden you have a lot of like fucking avocados one day out of nowhere, yeah, because your body, your gut biome, understand that your ecosystem in your body grows and thrives based on what you consume. So the reason why your feelings and your inflammation and your body finds balance is because the bacteria that cultivate, that run on sugar, that run on Tostitos and alcohol and all these things that you're putting in, your body adapts to handle that the best it can. And the certain bacteria that thrive on those things will flourish and your body will kind of find a new balance and you won't have the same kind of immune reaction as you will when you're eating healthy. And then today, if I went out and just drank beer and ate pizza and fucking wings, I would feel like just an asshole. I would just feel like complete shit, an unwiped asshole. I would feel like complete shit because my body would just, I'd probably recover quickly. I mean, but here's the thing. Sometimes you might cheat and not feel that bad because you have a healthy digestive system. So it goes both ways. You might either have a violent reaction or you might not notice too much and be like, hey, cool, I can cheat once in a while. Well, if you have a healthy digestive system, it might just be like a bump in the road on the highway. You don't really notice it that much because your digestive system can defend itself. So the body is very amazing and can adapt and adjust and dip and dive in different ways. So just your perceived reaction doesn't mean that it's a good thing for you. Even if you don't notice any violent diarrhea, doesn't mean that you're not having a problem. Doesn't mean that it's good just because you didn't have the shits. Because if you kept on exposing your body to it, then it might just start poking some holes in your gut and, down the line, it could be some problems. And there's some great analogies that, a lot of times what you do when you're younger, those things, a lot of times the decisions that you're making, a lot of times where diabetes and heart disease and all these major things come from, the decisions you make when you're 20, 30, 40, 50, those are the ones that come out as disease when you're 60, 70, 80, 90, because you're making these decisions, you're fucking your body up when you're really young and you might be fine. Like you might have problems when you're older because of the damage you did when you were younger. Like that's how the world works. It comes back to bite you. So it's important to start making better decisions and be aware of the decisions that you're making. Dale, have you watched or read Food Inc? I saw that like years ago when it came out. Yeah. And it exposed, and that's what, gave me a lot more feedback and context for why I was having tons of acid reflux. So I cut out and I went vegetarian for like 6 months, got rid of my acid reflux. I was craving meat hardcore. After a while, like I felt that I needed my DNA, my blood. I talked about this before with my acid reflux. And then I came back only eating grass-fed meat, only making like optimal choices. And I really overhauled my entire nutrition. And I've been fine ever since. And no problems with beef, no problems. It's about the quality of the meat. And that makes a massive difference. It's about the quality of the food. It just proved to me and showed me and exposed me how much or how deep it went with the quality of the food. It's not that you can't be eating fucking meat. It's the quality of the meat is a major, major problem. And I was exposing myself to tons and tons of antibiotics and shit in the chicken I was consuming. And this is a long time ago, but yeah, what you're eating is extremely important. Well, you read an article promoting the powder. Was it from the company that sells the powder, or were they biased for that? That's probably what you read. Did you read like a review or a promotion for it? Yeah. Well, I didn't actually. I was so grossed out by meat and by what I was eating. I was more grossed out about myself when I started seeing those documentaries. I was grossed out by what I was doing because I realized the quality of the food that I was consuming was that bad and it was actually killing me and was hurting me and it was coming out. I had nasty acid reflux. I was taking Prilosec for a while. It was bad. And I realized like, what the fuck? This is what's causing it. And I cut that out and it went away completely. And it's never come back. It's only come back when if I would have like a couple beers or something that can get acid reflux, or if I have something bad, it can come back, but then I also know what decision I'm making in that case, but it hasn't happened for a long time. I don't remember the last time that's happened, acid reflux. What did your food eat? It matters. Fuck yeah, it does. What you eat matters, and what your food eats matters. Where do you think this shit goes? It goes into your body. It goes into your body. So, all right, fam. Awesome. Where would you go to get grass-fed products? Whole Foods. You can order it online. You can find it in a lot of stores. Make sure it says 100% grass-fed. Make sure it says grass-fed and grass-finished. Sometimes they feed the cows and stuff. Grains at the end. You know, you have to go buy a reputable company, but there's a lot of good ones online that you can Google that will ship food to your door. You have to order a certain amount, but you can find that for sure. 100% grass-fed. Just an article in Health Mag, just wondering about the difference. Powder doesn't sound good to me. I don't know. That's preference. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know anything about it. I mean, they powder everything. They put things in pills. I'm sure they can get MCT oil in fucking pills too. I like it in my coffee, and I poop just fine. My poop's good. But good pickup, Sherry. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining me for episode 1003. Good Q&A. If you didn't get your question answered, I apologize. I think I saw every single one. But remember, every Saturday, I post that picture where you can comment on Facebook and Instagram and drop your comment. I really love these episodes because it helps me figure out where your head's at and give a lot of context and direct answers to your specific questions if they're not done in the episodes during the week. So it's always nice to follow up with a little bit more specifics, but make sure when you ask your questions moving forward, remember, make sure you are specific with your questions. Get as specific as you can. That way I can try to give you as specific an answer as I can. It's hard to sometimes answer these more vague questions accurately and properly because I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I'm not going to tell you an answer that might not work for you. I'm going to be honest about it. So, but I know that's why you're here. That's why you're here. You want the real shit. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining me for 1003. I'll see everyone tomorrow for episode 1004 of the most muscular Swolecast, Beercast, Broadcast, Gangcast, Mancast, Pimpcast, Sleazecast, and Slaycast in the realm. Because when I flex, you flex. We all flex our biceps. Peace, McGeese. Deuce, Magoose. Your boy, Papa Swole. Out. Look at me. Hey.